He's talking about the latest incident of streaking, or the latest one that we know about anyway, that happened last night. And unfortunately, I guess you didn't even find out about it till today, because she went behind you on stage.
I didn't even see it,
Yeah.
I was sitting down minding my own business.
Well, you told a very interesting story last night about the last gig I think you played before you came down here. Could you repeat that for our audience, eliminating the four-letter words?
Oh, the satellite lounge.
Yeah, the Satellite Lounge, and the by now legendary Mr. Rossi.
Oh yeah. Where can I begin? Right,
This is gun country. They'd appreciate it, you know.
We're booked in this joint called the Satellite Lounge, right? And about a week before, we just got a new drummer. We got Ernest Carter. And we'd only rehearsed like, a day or so, So I said, Mike, man, call this cat. Tell him we ain't gonna make it, Tell him we can't play this joint this weekend, And so Mike calls the guy. And the guy, usually the guy goes, yeah, okay, I'll see you next time. He goes, you son of a bitch. And he starts going at me.
Or words to those effects.
Yeah. And so he said that I should go, or else he would kill me if I didn't. And the guy's name is Carlo Rossi. And in Jersey, there's like a little circuit of like lounges, that are like sort of like mob run joints. And they started booking acts, booking like acts with an album or two out, So Mike calls me up and says, man, got some news for you. And I always say, well, is it good or is it bad? If it's bad, don't tell me, If it's good, let me know, So he says, this is violently bad, and I have to tell you, we have to play tomorrow night. So I said, you sure? The guy's probably, putting you on. He's probably jiving you. So Mike says, no, man, I called up these two guys we know who we're on good terms with. These guys, this guy Tyrone and Rocky.
You're not making these names up, are you?
No, these guys are real. You can go to New Jersey and meet them. And they look exactly what they sound like. This guy Tyrone and Rocky, they run this joint called the Earl Lounge. And we played there a few times. And we get along with the guys real good. They treat us good. And Mike says, hey, man, call up this Carlo guy. Call up Carlo Rossi. Tell him to lighten up, tell him we ain't such bad guys, And so they called him up, and that just made him madder, And so Tyrone and Rocky said the best thing to be would be to be there on Saturday night. Because what's funny is like the week before, this band Foghat had played there, and they were on stage, They were playing, and he comes up and says, man, you guys turn down. You guys are too loud. More, you guys better turn down. He goes up the second time and says, turn down, man. You guys are too loud. More, so he goes back the third time and says, I told you guys to turn down. Pulls out a gun and shoots all the amps. It's a true story. Shot the amps right in front of like 1,500 people, Stops the show and shoots the amps. So I was there on Saturday night, when Ernest was there, we were all there, We did, and it's funny because the first set you start at midnight, and we went on for a second set at like 4 in the morning, So when and it's in Fort Dix, it's like a soldier town. It's a crazy place, You run into them places sometimes. Yeah, it was a good gig. It ended up to be a good gig. The cat, yeah.
Nobody got killed or...
No, once we got there, as long as we were there, they love you, But if you don't come, he's gonna give me, I'm gonna give him a kiss in Asbury Park. Yeah, my address, they're gonna give me the kiss in Asbury Park. It's true.
If you're tuning in on the middle of this is Bruce Springsteen talking with us up here. You have had from the biography I got from Columbia Records and the other things that I have seen, what I would say is an interesting life. Would you like to tell us some more about it? Like, what happened the time when you were rehearsing in the house or in the garage after your parents left? And I think it was about a week or so before the police came. What was the deal with that?
I don't know. If you're getting it off the bio, that could be anything. Oh, that's Danny. Used to carry around in his car. Well, Danny, you gotta dig. If Danny is, on another time plane. This guy, he's into his own thing, and he had like a PA in his car or something. And it was like a citizens band radio, but he had these little horns like the cops got, All right, clear the streets, Everybody off the corner. And that was years ago. That was a long time ago. That's 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. Danny's a weird cat, man. He's got blank pistols, and he runs around and shoots them off, out the car window, and, all sorts. He's a strange cat. Danny's a funny cat. We went to California. The first time I went to California, he was in the band that I went with. I was about 18. He was about 18. Danny's driving the station wagon full of drivers, right? And I don't know how to drive at all. I do now, but at the time I didn't. So I got in this old Chevy truck we were carrying all the equipment in with my manager, a guy named Tinker, who builds surfboards. Well, he doesn't build them now, but I used to live in a surfboard factory for about a year and a half. This guy used to make surfboards.
Where was this out in L.A.?
This was in Jersey.
Oh, okay.
He came east to bring the surfboards to the pagans on the East Coast. And he started a thing with Challenger Eastern. He built Challenger Eastern surfboards. And we were going to California. We were going back west because he knew some people that were managing Quicksilver, Messenger Service, and a few other bands out west at the time, And Danny's in the station wagon with all the drivers, 6 drivers, and I happen to get in the Chevy truck to keep the cat company, keep manager company. And we get in Nashville, turn around, no Danny, right? No Danny anyplace. We never saw him again until we got to California. Right? Never saw him again until we ended up in the sticks out in this joint called Esalen Institute.
Oh yeah.
Which like you gotta dig if you're a kid coming out of New Jersey and you go to Esalen Institute and there's people rolling on the lawn, and grabbing the air, and it's the kind of place it is. It's it's one of them.
They do a lot of sensitivity training and
stuff
like that.
That's what it is. Yeah. So I went there. I said, whoa, I mean, I didn't know that's what it was. I was and that's where we met up with Danny, way at this guy's house. Guy built his house around a tree. Had a tree started in his living room, and went up through his bedroom and right out the roof again. It was something. It was a funny cat.
When did you first start playing seriously? Well, let's say professionally. That's easier.
I don't know.
For money.
It's like I didn't wake up and say, hey, today I'm gonna be a professional. It was just it's you develop into the whole thing more or less. You don't, you don't know when you start playing professionally because it's also haphazard along the way. It's like one day you're playing, at high school, the next day you're in a club, the next day you're in a college concert, next day you're back in high school again. So you can't figure it out. It's hard to say.
When did you start writing songs?
As soon as I started playing, I bangs out a few notes.
Are most of the things that are on the 2 albums that are out like fairly recent?
Well, the first album stuff's a couple years old, I guess, 2.5 years old by now, 2, I guess. And the stuff on the second album is about the same. It's all within about a 2-year span, I think.
Do you write like consistently? I mean, like you'll do a song, say, pretty much, at a regular interval, or does it just
No,
happen
I did
in
it
bursts?
one time. At one time, before things change. It's like I was telling this cat from the paper yesterday. The closer you get to like an edge, it's like people in your life. It's like you're close, you're near or farther away from like this edge, and it's like the closer you get to this edge, the more it's like the manic intensity tends to show more. Like on the first album, well, where I was living and the people I was living with, and I was living 3 flights up over this drugstore downtown in Asbury. I didn't have a band, I didn't have a job, and I didn't have any money, and I was living like $1 a day, for some chick was helping me out, and so you tend the first album was all written in this, in this room I had there, and that's all I did because that's all I had, that's all that was there, that's all there was to do, to live for, to do anything for, and so I was knocking out songs a lot, because like I said, you're closer to that edge, and it's
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people have said, like James Taylor said, now things are going so well after Sweet Baby James said, I don't know if I can write anymore. Do you think that you get stuff out of conflict?
Well, yeah, it's like it seems to be like I haven't had quite that problem, but it definitely changes your whole situation, It's like, and it's like now it's not like, like we get a salary, and I have a place to live and I don't have to worry about the rent, as long as we play, and I have a band. See, I have releases now, where like before you don't have any releases. Like I didn't have a band, and I wasn't playing, so there's no release, So all the release tends to come in the song, and I wasn't even playing the songs out in public. I would just write them, and that would be it. That would be it. Period. I would write them, and they would be there on the paper, and in the music, and. So you have no release. There's no release, and that comes across. Like the tension. It comes across in the tension of the music. Like there's a, and that I think could be the main difference between the first album and the second album, outside of the obvious superficial differences of more instruments and maybe a little more melodic sounding. The second album was, but the main difference is like there's a certain tension. In some of the things on the first album, that switched around and became like a groove, like more of a groove on the second album, and it's something that you have to be in that, you have to live it, you have to live it, and you can't fake it, and you can't get it out of, something, it's like you can't, get water from a stone. If it's there, it's there,
Yeah, from what happened, I mean, it was pretty hard to ignore the audience last night once you got started, but do you really work off the energy you get from the audience? Because it seemed to me like the first 3 or 4 songs last night, you really, I mean, you were putting out more than you were getting back, And I'm wondering, like, if you could do a whole show like that, or whether you have to eventually start getting something back from the audience, or else your performance is going to suffer. Because this changes, for different artists.
It depends. It's like, we'll come out, and we'll do some acoustic things first, It depends on the way, on the audience, If it's a really aggressive audience, sometimes we'll get a real aggressive audience that, just wants it all right there, right now, Now, that's all they know, now, And you run into audiences that say, well, a little bit now, and all of it later, and so it depends. It depends. Like there's certain situations where like we've played to an audience that is simply not in tune at all to what you're doing, like last night's crowd was very enthusiastic crowd, and it was a great crowd, it was a good crowd. And but occasionally, walls can get built. Like you'll come out and the chemistry isn't right, or something isn't right, the energy situation isn't right. Like I said, the audience is jumping all over you,
Yeah.
or and it'll erect a wall, and it's hard to get through, and and usually in those cases, it's the people aren't interested enough to make it happen anyway, so it doesn't matter, But like in a case like last night where
I don't think you're gonna have any problems.
no,
here.
it was I was really impressed, because like I'm from Jersey, I mean that's a long ways away, and I've never been here before, I've never been in Houston before, and the band, really felt good about it, really felt good about the situation.
Yeah.
And it's like it's something that it makes it pushes you to do your best, to put out, to be honest, and to do your best. It was a nice situation. I'd like to thank everybody who was there, if anybody's listening.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd probably like to thank you too if they could get through. You guys said something about that you wanted to get out of here, a little bit of a hurry. So I'd just like to tell everybody that you're going to do another 3 nights at Liberty Hall.
Yeah.
Have you got some more songs written for a new album?
Yeah, I'm working on it now. It's like like I want to make sure it's something different, and I'm sure it's a step, frontwards, and it's like as you go along. I don't know if it gets more difficult or what, but it's like blocks, man. It's like you got your first block and your second one, then you got to put something on top of that, and it gets higher, a little higher each time, and I have some ideas, some things as soon as we get some time. Like that was the main thing that's changed. Like I said, the period of the second album was like we've been working, we've been out on the road, traveling and playing all the time, and
That's going to, if nothing else, change a little bit of your material.
that does, it's like I try not to, I try not to get into, well, I'm in Houston and I'm at the Holiday Inn, getting holiday grins, I try not to get into too much of that,
That's been done, right?
Yeah, it's like,
Well, all right. For anybody that didn't get enough last night, and I know a lot of people that got a lot last night but didn't get enough, Bruce Springsteen and band will be back at Liberty Hall for 3 more nights, and then up in Austin next weekend.
Yeah.
And so you got plenty of chances to see him. Bruce Springsteen with us at 101. Thank you a lot for coming by.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Everybody knows where to find you tonight and through the weekend.